Gaming and anime are two things that I hold very dear to my heart. They're the main reason I even created this channel in the first place. When these two worlds come together, it's something that excites everybody. The idea of being able to play as your favorite character from these special stories is a motivator like no other. But as we all surely know, reality can often be disappointing, and when these anime games finally come to fruition, that is the viewpoint that many of us have. The anime gaming community has unfortunately become subject to sloppy, poorly designed and simply inferior gaming experiences over the years. There are of course the few games that absolutely knock it out of the park, like the legendary Ultimate Ninja Storm games, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, and a couple other standouts that really kill it. If we're being absolutely honest, most of these games that are developed completely ride off the success of their manga and anime counterparts. If we were to separate the two, most anime games without an already established fandom and a hype, most of these titles would completely crumble apart if they were to be released independently by brand new developers without an already established name. The combat, the way the story is presented, the polish, and the competition in the space, bro, most of these games absolutely don't stack up and wouldn't be able to compete. For example, let's consider My Hero 1 Justice. Take away the love and the hype that people already have for the anime of My Hero Academia, and bro, almost nobody would pick this game up according to its own merits. Mediocre combat, a combat style that is far too similar to its competitors. Ultimate Ninja Storm comes to mind. Basic presentation, and having absolutely no interest in becoming a groundbreaking title. This is an example of many games that fall into this trap. And what is this trap that I speak of? Greed. It's very clear to me and many other gamers that the main motivation for these games even to be conceptualized, created, developed, and eventually published is to extract as much resources from the loving anime and manga community, which is absolutely unfortunate. The motivation isn't to bring these animated characters to life through the handheld devices of the controller or your PC. The goal is just to make as much money and to create a business model that is going to be lucrative for the company, the developers, and of course the shareholders. And who's the person who suffers? It's the fun-loving fans who put their hard-earned money into buying these games. And this mention of greed brings me to the first pillar we're going to discuss today: DLC. Now, you might think it's strange that I'm bringing up DLC so early in the video, but I start with it because unfortunately, extra downloadable content is something that every gamer has to consider when buying a new game. Am I going to buy the standard version of Persona 5? Or am I going to buy Persona 5 The Royale? Am I going to buy DBZ Kakarot? Or am I going to buy DBZ Kakarot Deluxe? Or the Ultimate Edition? Or am I going to get narutostorm? Or am I going to get narutostorm Connection? Or am I going to get Jump Force? Or am I going to get the Ultimate Edition of Jump Force? There are so many iterations to consider that it ends up being confusing and a struggle even just to buy the game in the first place. The list simply goes on, and the point is that most of these companies do not make the mistake of not including more downloadable content for the fans to sink their hard-earned money into. Now, I'll be honest, I don't mind DLC. It's fair. It's another way for companies to make some extra cash. Fair enough. The problem is that the greed has sunk deep into the business practices where the DLC really shouldn't be DLC, and unfortunately this is an issue that plagues the entire anime gaming community. Now gents, I picked up Dragon Ball Z Kakarot not long ago. I downloaded the game, then I thought, oh, what DLC packages are available that I chose not to pick up when I got the game? I had a look, saw a few cosmetics that were available for purchase, and I was like, okay, fair enough. For the people that want to contribute more, they want to look extra cool, they can go ahead and get some more cosmetic options that have no impact on the actual game. But then I saw something that annoyed and perplexed me. There were a number of characters and, more importantly, transformations that were locked behind a paywall, a DLC. And these are by no means new transformations, bro. We're talking about Super Saiyan Rose, Super Saiyan Blue, and the basic red Super Saiyan God. Now gents, all of these transformations came out a while ago. So then I said, you know what, let me give these guys the benefit of the doubt. Let me do a bit of research. When did Dragon Ball Z Kakarot come out? So I did my research and found out, okay, it came out in 2020. Fair enough. But then I thought, okay, when did these transformations come out? I went to look up the release dates of Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods and Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of Frieza. Battle of Gods came out in March 2013 and Resurrection F came out in April 2015. Now I can understand if transformations come out after the game is released. That's fair enough. You know, these guys work hard to create this new material and add it to the game. They deserve to be paid. But these forms came out many years before the game came out. Yet they're still trying to make a bag off these transformations that are now staples of Dragon Ball Super. Bro, what? Why? Dude, we've had and experienced these transformations for years, yet you're still trying to make them extra through these microtransactions. What in the world are you doing? Now gents, I completely understand that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was mainly focusing on retelling the tale of Dragon Ball Z. Fair enough. Dragon Ball Super and those transformations could be seen as something that isn't important or aren't a priority. But bro, at the very least, you could include these transformations later as a free update later on. Now gents, this example isn't only independent to DBZ, as this trend continues to many other game series. Like bro, what are you doing? Back in the day, you'd have to grind to unlock these transformations over time, but now you're forcing us and peddling these transformations that have been out for years on end via microtransactions, and these aren't cheap by any means. And the thing is, you'll go ahead and buy a package or even buy a season pass and eventually realize that some of these things aren't even included in that package, bro. Like really? Come on, man. Now let's consider a different example. Now let's consider Narutostorm 4. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 released to Momoshiki in the Boruto expansion. But even if you had the season pass and got the Naruto and Boruto version, you would still have to pay extra to get this duo as playable characters. Womp womp womp. Like, are you absolutely serious? I put my hard-earned money into purchasing the version that included the season pass, but you're still going to not let me play as the main antagonist of the Boruto section that I paid for? Bruh, like really? And bro, it could have been so easy. The most annoying thing is that you fight against these guys in the game, which means these guys are already included in the system. They're included, they have movesets, they have ultimates, they have everything included. But nah, you gotta pay extra to play as these guys. Bruh. Now I'm really hoping we aren't going to be facing similar issues with the brand new Dragon Ball Z Sparkling Zero game that's essentially Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Considering how many versions of characters there are now in Dragon Ball Super, I'm really hoping I won't have to pay extra for Ultra Instinct Goku or Super Ego Vegeta. Now bro, I won't even be surprised if they say, yo, if you want to play as Dragon Ball Super Trunks, you're going to have to pay an extra fee for the entire Goku Black Pack, where you get Zamasu, Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, and Super Saiyan Rage Future Trunks. Bro, the sky is the limit, and the greed of these companies these days knows no bounds. It's just all bad. But to be honest, from what we've seen, Sparkling Zero seems to be a passion project, so I really hope these predictions won't come true. And this brings me to the other issue that I have with anime games in general: mediocrity.
Oh, hell no, man.
Now in my opening comments I mentioned that take away the name, take away the huge fandom, and most of these titles will fail to stand on their own 2 feet. And I definitely stand on that. My Hero Rumble is an example that we can simply turn to. It's a new-ish battle royale that was released this past year and is a very mediocre game. Take away the My Hero Academia coat of paint and that game would have lost its entire player count in about 3 days. Most anime games unfortunately end up being basic fighting games. Now, while My Hero Rumble tried something different by making it into a battle royale, they fall again into the dire trap of mediocrity. Now of course there are a few exceptions with games such as Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, which with Storm 3 being the absolute standout. That game has a great story presentation. The combat is finally perfected in that very game and polished to a very pretty shine. But the one thing that I do want to note and point out is that there eventually became a repetitiveness and they started to copy the Assassin's Creed and overall Ubisoft method. Once it works, if it ain't broke, why fix it? So they eventually just added a few features, take away a feature, add a few features, and it eventually became the same. So if you've played one of the Storm games, you have a really strong idea of how all the other Storm games felt. And the repetition is another trap of greed that they continue to fall into. Now, while I personally enjoyed Dragon Ball Xenoverse, the combat and the mission design was sorely lacking. My Hero 1 Justice also failed to impress, and so did the brand new JJK Cursed Clash definitely disappointed. Now, most of these games are able to completely capture the visual flair of the anime, but when looking at the core ingredients of the entire concoction, you'll be sorely disappointed. Just consider the presentation of Jujutsukaisen Cursed Clash. Do it right or don't do it at all. Picture stills? Like, are you serious, bro? Not even like fully animated cutscenes for the entire retelling of the narrative. No. Full of picture stills from the 3D animations created in the game engine. Bruh, like seriously, man? At least it's voice acted, but come on, bro. It's already a summary of the anime, but you guys aren't even gonna put the time and effort to animate it or show different angles, do something interesting, or come with something even original, bro. Like, do something different. And guys, the game doesn't always have to be a 1v1 fighting game. While the fighting genre is great, considering how deep and complex these anime worlds are, so many other genres of games can be tackled. A deep open world RPG could be made with the verse of Naruto. You could make a cool linear style of RPG similar to the styles of Sekiro and Dark Souls with Jujutsukaisen, especially with its eerie and dark and haunting tone. You can absolutely knock it out of the park, even compete with things such as Bloodborne. And you can even make a cool action-adventure hero game like the Spider-Man PlayStation series with My Hero Academia. Maybe you add a few guys from the main cast and have them as 3 playable characters. Just an example, saving people while doing missions with a main character and having plenty of side content on the side. The options are plentiful, but a lack of passion and interest restricts these avenues from being properly pursued. Now, Japan clearly has no issue of being able to develop absolutely sensational games. From Software, the Souls series is a clear example, and the Final Fantasy series, which are pioneers in the gaming space, are just clear examples to show that Japan know how to make good video games. The problem that's holding all of these guys back is unfortunately greed. They're willing to sacrifice the integrity of their gameplay development and the games and the names of the animes that they're producing, all for a pointless cash grab. The issue isn't competency in this regard, the issue is choice. Thank you guys for joining me and watching my video. Thank you. Like, comment and subscribe. Thank you for making it this far. More content is definitely on the way. I'm probably going to be coming with a Fortnite Zero build review coming soon, and whatever games I end up playing over this time period will be reviewed on the channel. If you have any ideas or things you want me to cover, just let me know down there in the comments and I'll definitely consider it, and I'll probably make a video on it. Thank you for staying with me, and take it easy, gents. Enjoy the rest of your day.